Hello, everyone. Welcome to DSP versus the Internet, episode 52 for Sunday, the 18th of February, 2024. It is official. We have now done 52 weeks of shows, a whole year here on the React channel of me watching the clips that you submit. And when I say you, I mean, of course, the channel members. Remember, if you're an ultra member of this channel, the highest tier, you guaranteed get to see your clips watched on the show. We have 11 ultra members this week that I'm watching. Also, if you're a submissions level member, it means that you go into a randomized playlist where I just hit shuffle and we watch those in a random order. And of course, everyone has an equal chance to get their clips watched there. I think we have over 30 submissions level clips this week. So, I'm excited to see what you guys have in store. Thank you also very much for an awesome year of reacting. Let's keep it going. Remember, the best way to support this channel is to become a member. But there's other ways as well. You can always check the description of the videos. If you want to leave a tip, you can do a super thanks on a video that's eligible, but a lot of these videos get claimed or have issues with copyright, so usually super thanks is not available. But other ways as well, contributing here during the streams is a great way to help out the channel. All right? So thank you all. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the Ultra Member submission. So I'm assuming Sean Strickland is an MMA fighter, considering this has something to do called Full Send MMA, and it sounds like he's about to destroy someone. I don't know who he's about to destroy. I guess we're about to find out. All right, let's see. Here we go.
You're in Toronto. Welcome. Glad to hear it. It's been great.
Are you Canadian?
Of course I am.
Are you part of the fucking opposition? Are you?
I don't know how to phrase that.
I mean, you got like fucking. Yeah.
Well, I did want to ask you.
Did you vote for Trudeau?
I'm not going to say.
And let me tell you something right now. If a man says he's not going to say, like, if you ask him, motherfucker, did you vote for Biden? He's like, well, I'm not going to say. That's none of your business. He voted for fucking Biden.
Sean,
so, hey.
Sean, I'm glad you've had great experiences.
So this is what I'm talking about, you guys. The enemy of Canada.
All right.
All right.
That's what it's got to be. It's got to be. We've got a pretty supportive gay and lesbian community in this city. I did want to ask you something you wrote a couple years ago. You said if I had a gay...
Wait a minute. He's an MMA fighter. All right? Because I was wondering why he was going to ask the interviewer, who did you vote for or whatever. It's a political question. I think he knows who the interviewer is. Like, he knew the interviewer was going to ask him a question that has nothing to do with MMA. He's about to ask him about a quote he said about, I guess, gay people or something like that. He's an MMA fighter. What does it matter what his opinion is on that? At all. Like, who cares? His job is to get into a ring and pummel you and beat you in a fight. It doesn't matter what he thinks. He could think that cows are space aliens. He could think that, cars are transformers in real life. It doesn't matter what he thinks. He's a fighter. His opinion is moot. So why is it? This is literally he's about to try to get him in a gotcha moment at an interview about an MMA fight that has nothing to do with the MMA fight. He's going to ask him this dumb question. All right, here we go.
Son, I would think I've...
Oh, look, another. I'm saying to you, the swamp, you guys, the swamp.
You become a champion, you become a star, and some would say...
Let me ask you something. Are you gay?
Have you had the chance to interact with a more diverse...
Let me know. Are you gay?
Could I get an answer?
Well, no, I'm asking. This is the part of. Are you a gay man?
I'm an ally of the community.
Okay. If you had a son and he was like, you had a son, he was gay, you'd be like, oh man, you don't want a grandkid?
No problem with it.
Oh man, well, dude, you're a weak fucking man, dude. You're part of the fucking problem. You elected Justin Trudeau, like, when he sees the bank accounts, like, you're just fucking pathetic. And the fact
when he sees the bank accounts, I don't understand that quote. But again, I think that maybe what it is he just wants to get a rise out of this guy, But who cares what he has to say? He's an MMA fighter. It doesn't matter. Again, even if you disagree with his opinions, which I happen to, like, if I had a gay son, I wouldn't care. He can be whatever he wants, right? But he's against it. No, I don't think that my son should be gay because I want grandkids, right? Whatever. I mean, that's his opinion. But he's a fighter. Is he a good fighter? Right? So if he's a good fighter, that's all you should care about. Why are you asking him this question at an MMA press conference? This is an MMA press conference. This is not, a representative press conference. You know what I'm saying? This is not an event to talk about this. This is the question you asked the guy. What did you think would happen? But I think it sounds like he's basically trying to goad him because he knows this guy's like a hothead, and he knows that he's going to say something that's going to be deemed offensive, right? And this guy, I hate to say it, he's falling for it hook, line, and sinker, right?
that you have no fucking backbone And has he shut down your fucking country and seized bank accounts? You ask me some stupid shit like that, go fuck yourself. Move the fuck on, man.
That doesn't really answer the question, but I did want to ask also things you said about the trans community. You said this past October.
Why? Now, like, dude, I'm not answering you. Why are you still letting this guy talk? He's not going to answer you. You're just goading him on to say something agitated. Who's running this? Who's running this conference? Immediately, I'd be like, all right, you had your question. You pissed the guy off. Next, on to someone who's going to ask something that's topical. No, continue to pester this guy with these questions.
The Bud Light sponsorship, that you'd go so hard on Bud Light in your next fight, they'll have to accept me or denounce me when they know what, and will know what they stand for. Are you still going to use your fight time to kind of speak on that?
Here's the thing about Bud Light. 10 years ago, to be trans was a mental fucking illness. And now all of a sudden, people like you have fucking weaseled your way into the world. You are an infection. You are the definition of weakness. Everything that is wrong with the world is because of you. And the best thing is...
here's the thing. Even if he truly believes what he's saying about his beliefs about trans people, you should not be doing it in this way. He's being incredibly offensive. He's blaming it on one particular person or group of people. This is completely wrong. That's what I mean. This man should not be the poster definition of people of that like he has no argument, right? Where's his argument in what he's saying? Nothing. He's literally just full of emotion and anger because this guy's asking him these questions at his press conference that's supposed to be about MMA. So this is the kind of answer you get. This is a volatile situation that just gets exacerbated. So now the journalist walks away being like, haha, I made the guy look like an asshole, right? Stupid. But, again, would I ever ask Sean Strickland about his opinions on this stuff? No, I would not. I would never ask Sean Strickland his opinion because he's an MMA fighter. Again, his opinion is a moot point. He doesn't matter. He's not a spokesperson for this stuff. Just like, maybe people just put too much weight on the words of celebrities. Maybe that's what it is, right? Because I guess you could consider if he's a champion in MMA, he's a celebrity. Just like when people talk about, what's her name? J.K. Rowling and what she says about the trans community and stuff like that, right? And it's like, why do you care? Well, because she's very influential. Well, maybe she shouldn't be. Is she an expert on it? If she's not, then who cares what she thinks? She has the right to say what she wants, but who cares what she thinks? Maybe just too many people are putting weight on the words of the wrong people, right? She writes fucking Harry Potter books. That's it. That's it. He beats people's faces and submits to them in a ring. That's it. Why do you care about his opinion on this shit? It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't even affect anyone. Even how wrong or right he is or whatever you want to argue. It's so stupid, right? I don't know. Play the rest. It's funny at the end.
The world's not buying it. The world's not buying your bullshit you're fucking peddling. The world is not saying, you know what? You're right. Chicks have dicks. The world's not saying that. The world's saying, no, there are two genders. I don't want my kids being taught about, who they could...
Oh, this is not funny. This is just his line of argument. There's nothing funny here. All right, on to the next clip.
Japan is one of the safest countries in the world, and its police seem to keep it that way.
I'd like to watch this, but it's a CBS Sunday Morning clip, and I have no clue if this will get claimed. So we'll play a little bit of it, and I'll keep my eye over here and see what happens.
While almost never firing a shot. Lucy Kraft goes on patrol with the Tokyo police.
The essence of Japanese law enforcement is here at the Koban, or police box. Besides more than 1,000 police stations...
Am I correct in stating, or assuming, firearms are not legal in Japan? So the common person cannot own a firearm in Japan. Only law enforcement and only the military can have firearms. And therefore, you'll see that most of these police don't have them. It's only like certain units that would have them. Is that correct? I think that's correct. That's why when you play like a Yakuza game, it's rare when someone even has a gun, right? It's not supposed to be something that's taboo, illegal, it's hard to get, correct? I think that's the case.
Japan operates 6,000 Koban and an equal number of smaller, rural posts blanketing every corner of the country. Close to half of the nation's cops are assigned to one. Officer Micah Suzuki said the Koban puts police at arm's reach in a crisis.
Dialing 911 seems easy, but sometimes victims are too scared to call from home, or maybe they're not sure if their problem is really an emergency, so they come down to the Koban.
Really? Oh, that's interesting. So they have like neighborhood corner precincts that are like small offices where the cops are. You can go for like local help as opposed to having to go to the big thing or dial 911. That's interesting. That's totally different than how we have it here.
Like mini police stations, but their responsibilities are vast, extending far beyond handing out traffic tickets and traditional law enforcement. Cops have evolved to become a kind of one-stop shopping for problems large and small, whether it's giving street directions, finding a hotel room, lending car fare to cash-strapped commuters, or even patiently listening to marital spats.
Wow.
But by far, the most popular police service is running what could be the world's biggest, most efficient lost and found.
Oh my God, this whole floor is just for umbrellas?
What?
Last year, the Tokyo Police Department collected nearly 3 million items, including almost 250,000 umbrellas from public transit and parks, each carefully tagged and logged for easy retrieval. There are 5 more floors here.
Okay, I would be fascinated to learn if anyone gets any of that shit. Does anyone actually show up and prove that that's theirs and take it? Like, if it's an umbrella and you lose it, are you really going to bother trying to, like, track it down? You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck that. Now, I could understand if you're like, I lost a pair of prescription glasses that cost me hundreds of dollars or something like that, or I dropped my phone, you know, but an umbrella, a book, right? Like, oh, big deal. And look at this. They have a fucking million lost and found items.
With everything from baby strollers to dentures.
Dentures.
Not to mention cold cash, as Tokyo resident Jake
The guy shows up at the police station. What? Oh, you lost your dentures.
found. After he absent-mindedly left an envelope of cash at the ATM,
oh, that's
a good
interesting.
Samaritan brought it.
Anso Kamaru says, I lost my wallet in Japan once. I found it 3 days later. Everything was still in it. I went back when I went to check with the police. So the police had found it, and they kept everything in it. That's interesting.
To police, who returned it to Edelstein the next day.
Wow.
Police are very well paid here, so they have an incentive to do their job well. That's their task. That's part of getting along with the community. If someone brings something to the police, it gets logged in a file and then sent up to headquarters, and that thing is tracked until it's returned.
Koban cops go to extraordinary lengths to learn their beats. They're required to regularly visit every business and household in their districts twice a year. The ostensible purpose of this visit is handing out anti-crime flyers. And here, chatting with the owners of a coffee shop about their security cameras. With Officer Soda, we can say what's on our mind, said the owner. He's really like a neighbor. Instead of dialing emergency when we need help, we just call him. Visits like this, while extremely time-consuming and somewhat intrusive, are a goldmine for cops, yielding tips about suspicious activity and building community contacts. Police presence here is so low-key and ubiquitous, American law enforcement experts have compared Japanese cops to mailmen. Indeed, the cops seem to be just about everywhere.
So here's the thing, though. So you know what this reminds me of? Small town America. This is not major city town America where there's so many people. In small towns in the United States, it's still like this, where your local police department, your local cops, everyone knows the sheriff. Everyone knows the deputies. They're part of the community. They're friendly with you. They're not seen as like the enemy who's always stalking you and watching your every move to keep you in line. They're more known as the people who are there to keep order. And if something actually really significantly goes awry, they're just a helpful person in town to go to because they have the authority to do the things to help you, right? While in this case, this has just been expanded to the utmost thing, like the entire major part of Japan is just so expanded upon. And you also heard, like, what they said is they basically are paid well, and because they're paid well, they do their job seriously, right? If you're a well-paid employee, you tend to want to do better because you want to keep that job, you want to keep that going. So because the incentive is there, they work hard and they do well, right? I get it. You know, maybe that's the problem with American law enforcement. is that, first of all, every state in the United States treats it completely differently. Every state has different laws and rules of what the cops can and can't do. Every state pays their law enforcement differently. Like, literally, every state is completely different. So you could be in one state and everything's one way, and you cross the state line, and next thing you know, something you were doing in the state over there was fine. Now now the cop pulls you over immediately as being an asshole to you, gives you a giant ticket. Like, well, what just happened? Oh, well, you crossed the lines to this state, and this state, treats everything so differently, right? So, and that's the thing. I feel like it really is a cultural thing. I don't think that it's a political thing. I think it's a cultural thing. If a society accepts law enforcement into their society for various reasons, and if they're treated differently, and if they actually act differently, then you could have a society that's just different in that regard. I think in the United States, we've gotten to the point where, like, law enforcement is almost seen as, like, the enemy, right? They're the ones who are trying to ruin your life and your fun and always tell you what to do and hit you with a fine, or, you know what I mean? I don't think that's the case. I see law enforcement as people who are there to protect and help, right? And I don't think that law enforcement is a good job in regards to, like, the level of stress and risk. Like, those people are putting their lives on the line every day. They're trying to stop crime, violent offenders, right? You never know when someone's going to pull out a knife or a gun on you. But it seems like in this country, in the last 10 years, there's been a complete flip of attitude towards our law enforcement. They're not friendly people in your neighborhood to help you. They're the enemy, right? There's a big disconnect in our culture, and I don't get it. I don't know where that came from, honestly. Okay, a little bit more, but we'll go to the next clip soon.
Local festivals, helping kids across the street. Gently, if somewhat ineffectually, herding mobs at a Halloween street party. And stopping traffic for a Black Lives Matter protest. Police departments create their own cuddly mascots. They produce cartoon civics lessons for kids. At least one police force in Western Japan boasts a squad of dancing officers, all reinforcing the image of the casual, friendly, and ever-helpful cop. No wonder police are consistently rated one of the most trusted institutions in Japan.
Completely
Every
opposite
officer
here.
carries a .38 caliber revolver, but thanks to strict gun laws, firearms usually stay holstered. Instead of lethal force, officers train intensively in self-defense skills for restraining offenders, called taihojutsu, the art of arrest.
We've heard about something called the art of arrest. What is that?
It is a set of techniques for keeping ourselves and others safe. I think of it as a martial arts for police. Our job is to protect not just crime victims, but crime suspects as well.
On this night, police catch a lawbreaker in the act and head off in hot pursuit. After a furious sprint, they get their man, a taxi driver, nabbed for making an illegal turn. Later, the cops quietly break up a brewing fight. As the evening wears on, they head out on patrol. An inebriated man mocks them, but the cops remain poker-faced. Don't drink too much, one said. Not everyone is a fan. Critics say Japan has too many cops and that officers don't have enough to do. Japanese citizens essentially police themselves, say observers like Jake Adelstein, a former crime reporter.
Japan isn't a religious nation, but it is a superstitious nation, and I really believe that people believe that there's karmic payback for what you do, good and bad. And I think that's a powerful tool in making people behave.
I hate to say it, like they're saying, oh, there's too many cops, they don't have enough to do. People are self-policing. Why are the people self-policing? Because there's so many cops, they don't have enough to do. So the moment that you do something wrong, the cop catches it. You get it? It goes hand in hand. They have so many police that they're going to find you doing the wrong thing, and therefore you self-police yourself so you don't get into trouble. If there was like 2 cops in a city, then obviously no one would self-police because no one's ever going to catch you doing anything. It's human nature. It really is human nature. I don't know how people don't understand this. Like, if you think you can get away with something, you will push the boundaries of how much you can get away with until you finally reach the boundary and get caught. And now you've tested the boundary and you're good, right? Like, that's human nature. I've seen it everywhere in my life, you know? All right, that was interesting. I like that. Let's watch another one here before we maybe consider splitting the part.
Welcome to
Double Dash. Double Dash was the GameCube one, correct?
Did you know? Sonic the Hedgehog was once teased as a playable character in Double Dash. In February 2002, Shigeru Miyamoto did a short interview with Ananova.com about the state of the GameCube sales numbers and the upcoming Mario Kart game. His final comment was, "We're having a series of meetings about Mario Kart for GameCube, and we've come to the point where we'll be making some drastic changes compared to the last games. Sonic the Hedgehog might be one of the drivers." Unsurprisingly, this sparked rumors that Sonic would be a playable character in the game. When Double Dash was first shown off, however, Sonic was nowhere to be seen, and the rumor died down. The rumor resurfaced in October 2003 when screenshots leaked showing the game had unlockable characters, but when Double Dash finally came out, Sonic wasn't in the game's roster. When the game was first shown off at Space World 2001, it greatly resembled existing Mario Kart titles and was yet to be named Double Dash. Interestingly, this early preview reused Mario and Luigi's models from Super Smash Bros. Melee, an indication of how hastily it was put together. In May 2002, Miyamoto said development of the game was moving along well, but that it was being kept under wraps, as any images would give away what kind of game it is. This was clearly to hide the game's dual racer mechanics.
Right.
Speaking of which, the idea to have two racers in one vehicle was inspired by motorcycle sidecars. The team
I would say, because I played this on GameCube, I thought it was ingenious, but then they just ditched it right away, right? Like, they never did this again in any Mario Kart. I don't know why. I liked it. I liked the idea of having two drivers and you could flip them and it plays a little differently. I thought it added something new to the franchise, but they never brought it back. It was just this one game, it was a one-off, and that was it, right?
Nintendo Entertainment Analysis and Development noted how fun it was to drive in pairs, and wanted to capture that same feeling for Mario Kart. Ultimately, however, they went with a tandem arrangement, rather than having players side by side. Although Nintendo wanted to mix things up, they also didn't want to put off longtime fans. In fact, the team were so concerned about the concept of two racer vehicles that they made a single racer prototype as well. They thought about giving players the option of choosing one racer for a kart or two, but ultimately went all in on having two racers in a kart. The devs at EAD looked to all past Mario Kart games while developing Double Dash, but mostly Mario Kart 64. They'd even get together regularly and play Mario Kart 64 while making Double Dash, and hope to rectify some problems of the past. Elements that they couldn't include in Mario Kart 64, like full polygon graphics for the karts and characters, finally made their way into Double Dash. Animation was improved too. All four wheels on a kart could now move independently, and vehicles had believable suspension. Countless revisions were made to how a character's weight impacted vehicle movement. They also tried adding more actions for racers, but started to run out of buttons on the GameCube controller. They eventually began to question whether the game they had in front of them was still Mario Kart, and considered rebranding it as something entirely new.
What?
Things
It's
began
definitely
to
Mario
take shape,
Kart.
however,
Why would
and
this
Double
not be
Dash
Mario
found an
Kart?
identity that fit the title Mario Kart. The option to have two players controlling a single kart also made the game more accessible. Double Dash director Kiyoshi Mizuki told CVG, "If you're the veteran player, you can drive the kart by sitting in the front seat, and if you're the amateur player who isn't confident enough in driving the game, or if you've never played a video game whatsoever, then you can sit on the rear seat of the kart and attack the other karts." As you may already know, Double Dash allowed for up to 16-player local multiplayer.
That's right. In fact, that's how I enjoyed it. I had a friend who came over my house, and he would be either I would drive and he would toss the shells, or vice versa. Like, and we liked that. We liked that that's how it was. So we played through the whole campaign of the game like that. And then, of course, we also did the races where he would be playing by himself, I'd be playing by myself, and we'd be racing with the AI. That was fun, too. But I like the co-op aspect, because there had never been a co-op aspect to Mario Kart before this one. I wonder why they never did it again. Because this game's very old, 2002, 2003, right? I mean, it's been 20 years, and they never thought to bring that mechanic back in another game. I mean, then again, we've had Mario Kart 8 for like 10 years, and they haven't even come out with a new one yet. So, isn't it funny? Because there was Double Dash, and then it was the 3DS one, which I can't remember the name of it. Not the 3DS, the original DS one. That was the first one that had real online play, correct? Then they had the Wii one, and then they had 3DS one, and then they had the Wii U one, and the Wii U one became the Switch one, 8. So that was it, right? Is that how many there were? I don't think I'm forgetting any, right? So it was weird because they were coming out with so many of these. I mean, if you think about it, early to mid 2000 or early to mid 90s was Mario Kart and 64. Then there was Double Dash. Then there was the first DS. Then there was the Wii. Then there was the 3DS. And then there was 8. I guess I'm missing one. There was another one in there. But all of those came out within like 15 years, right? And then we have like a 10-year spat with no new Mario Kart. I would love to see the double dash mechanic come back. I think it would work really, really well. Especially now that there's full online play. Imagine if you could team up with a friend over the internet. And they're, like, same thing. You drive, they're throwing the shell or whatever. That would be really, really cool. I think that would work very well. I wonder if they'll ever bring that mechanic back, right? Oh, that's true. There's a mobile game, too. I totally forgot about the mobile game. Right. There's a mobile game version as well. I can't remember what it's called. But, all right. I think this is a good place to split the part. Thank you all for watching part 1 of DSP versus the Internet, episode 52. Many more parts to come and many more videos to watch. So, thanks. I'll see you in the next one.